Goldberg, Cousin Saul, Cousin Alex, hi.
Alex?
Yeah, we're getting a whole full photo coverage here.
Oh, boy. And where is Mom?
Yeah. Getting ready for America's Funniest Home Videos. There's Cousin Gail, Cousin Lou. Who's that over there? Cousin Sylvia? Nice close-up, great. Who's over here? Cousin Phyllis. Hi, Cousin Phyllis. This way.
Everybody, Phyllis way there.
Phyllis, hi. Who's that, B? Got you. Great picture. Super. Say hi. Who's there?
Hi, Gloria.
I'm going to ask him something.
Gloria, okay. Great. I can't see through the camera real well. Miriam?
Matthew's in a nursery school.
Good. Joel?
I'm going to take a picture of him.
Why don't you wait until we all get in the room?
Okay, everybody
Natural evolution. Tell me who you're missing.
Rose, she has to come because she's in charge of the
Joanne?
signing in.
Joanne?
I wanted to welcome all of you. I'm just thrilled at how many of you came. And I wanted to just give you a little background of why you're all here. The fact that my grandparents, Israel and Beth Sheba, who had 8 children, but 6 of them came to America, 3 sisters and 3 brothers between 1910 and about 1922. And from them, we have 6 strong limbs of a tree. As you see, Harold was kind enough to set up the limbs of the tree, and we have them color-coded to coordinate with each sibling.
Don't shut the door.
And I also prepared folders with the color of the strain that you come from. And
The strain?
And to the best that I could, I got color tabs so that each of you will put on your name tag according to the particular child that you came from. Now, all of you may know your own strain, but you don't know each other, so this will give you an idea of who's connected with who. And then when you get to see B's family tree, you'll get to see the connection of the whole thing. So we had the oldest sibling was Morris Waprinski. And we had
Golda.
Golda was the older brother. Golda. Sorry. Already I'm on the wrong foot. Golda Fishman, who is green in our color coding. She would give you a nice, quiet smile. That's lovely because she was that kind of person. A beautiful human being. The next one was Morris. I'm sorry I had him out of line. And I think we only have one representative.
Nobody. He canceled out last minute. He told us.
Right. We only had one. There are. Then we had my mother, Rebecca. I hope I have it right now. We had all the blues strain.
Yay!
And then we have Max.
No, mine is, I left it back.
What happened to Hannah?
And we have Max Waprinski.
That's you.
That's you. Okay. After that, we have Fanny. But she left the folder back in her room. And she's taken
Yay, Fanny.
I'm not the only one that's for tumult. And the youngest one was Abe Waprinski.
Alex, that's us. That's my father.
All right. 10, 12 years ago, Bee prepared this beautiful
I don't want to
story.
give that out yet.
And I'm not giving you that. I'm just, for those of you that didn't get one, Joel made extra copies so that many of you who did not get them the first time around will have a chance. And along with that, we have the tree that we worked very hard to update, and you'll see where you fit into it. So later, after B gives you all the information, we would like you...
Just good. We just applauded.
Red. Is that better than yellow? So you'll get your name tags, take your proper color.
Tomorrow morning, we should wear the name tag.
Wear your name tag so you can see where you are connected and which branch of the tree they would like to bring. We also, later, when you get a chance, we have an album from the pictures that we took from last year's gathering here in Mount Laurel, and we have some. That's why some of us are going around snapping pictures so we can have enough to continue our album. We also had asked people to have the rest of the family send in pictures that aren't here so we can have them commemorated too in our album. Let B tell you the rest of
We
it.
also have to...
You have something to say about Mary Minerva.
Oh, I already
do that.
told Irv. Oh, he told you?
Yeah.
Mim is Anna Waprinski's sister, as most of you know.
No.
And we always consider them part of the family circle. So I told him today he was grafted onto our family tree. When you sign it today, you'll sign it under A. Okay, but he's a very important graft to us. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, B.
And tomorrow your little graftlings are coming?
The grafting. They have to have a position on this.
Consider themselves
Becky
much
and Jake
part
are
of
coming
this.
tomorrow, right?
Right.
Okay, B.
All right, I want to bring you greetings from my mother. She is the only survivor from the second generation of our family. She was the last survivor. And people ask me, how is she? My mother resides in a nursing home now, and she is the best adjusted nursing home resident anywhere in the whole country, and Rose can attest to
She's
that.
on the salesperson.
She's their salesperson. So people say, how's your mother, what is she doing, and how does she feel, and how does she get along? So I just want to tell you one little story that my mother told me this week that'll give you an idea of how busy my mother is in this nursing home. She was sitting downstairs near the dining room, and there were a lot of people were sitting around there, but two ladies in particular came off the elevator. And she said, B, I have such a story to tell you. How come Harold didn't come with you? Because I wanted him here to hear your story. I said, Ma, he has to work, but I promise you, I'll tell the story. Okay, so Ma, what happened? What's the story? She says, there's two ladies, and I don't know if they're sisters or they're friends, but they're always together. They always walk together. And she says, one is very tall and very straight, and the other one walks a little bent. And she says, I think she's very weak. So this particular day, they came off the elevator. My mother happened to be sitting right there. There were chairs and benches. And the straighter one of the two went into the washroom, which is right there. So she says, the straight one, she went into the toilet, and she made. And then she came out. And she sat down with the other lady. The other lady didn't go in, she said. She was sitting on the bench. And they sat down together, and they sat there a long time. She said, I didn't talk to them, but I was watching them. And pretty soon she said it was time to go into the dining room for dinner, and the dining room is right there. And I see that the two ladies get up, and they're walking to the dining room. So I went over, and she's in a wheelchair, but she gets all over the building, including in and out of the elevator, in this wheelchair. We took off the bottom so she can walk with the wheelchair. So she said, so I went over to the lady that's bent over, and I said to her, you don't have to go to the washroom, we're going in for dinner. So the lady says to her, no, I don't have to go to the washroom. And my mother says to me, couldn't understand that. They sat such a long time. I go to the washroom all the time. So then they went into the dinner. My mother sat at her table, and these two ladies went to sit someplace else. And my mother says, she says, it didn't take a few minutes. I give a look. Both ladies got up from the table, and they walked with a walker, but they didn't take the walker. They held hands, and they walked out the door. And I said to myself, I know where they're going. So they went, she said, so they went out, and a few minutes later, they came back, and when they came back, she said, you know what they did? They came up to me and they said, thank you so much for reminding me.
It was never good in mathematics. It's okay.
You're strange.
The only thing I found out is on occasion, they move the people around from table to table, but they want them to socialize. One day I came there, and she was not going down to dinner. She said, I'm not going down to dinner. I said, how come? She said, I didn't go down to lunch either. I said, Ma, you're supposed to do that. Why did you go down? You know why? Because they put a man at my table, and he's an old man, and I don't want to sit with him. So I wrote to the administration and said, never put a man at my mother's table. So that's my mother sends you her fondest regards, and she told my nieces who happened to be there this week, she said, I told Bea that when she comes from the reunion, she has to have a good breakfast and she has to have a good lunch because she has to come and tell me everything that happened and everything that everybody says. Very sharp lady, very, very sharp lady. So that's the story about my mother, and I'm happy that this year that I can come and tell you stories about her and Alavaya about her. Okay, I have to give a couple of thanks for this weekend, and I think most especially to Rose, because she was involved in making all the reservations. She was the one who started this last year, and we really do owe her a vote of thanks for all that she did. The next person that we have to thank is Jane, because Jane took notes last year. She sent out the newsletter, and it's because of Jane that people really knew that we were getting together, and that's why we have such a nice turnout. And also, I believe Jane brought the challah for tomorrow. For the sukkah.
Much more.
Great.
They brought it out and it was a dark challah, and I wanted to say no, I wanted light baked, but I didn't have the spirit.
Okay, we have to thank Harold for spending time this afternoon to do the tree, which will be hung in the living room at Rose and Julie's house, and then next year they can come. And also Harold provided the wine for tomorrow, and for the kiddish for tomorrow. And we have to thank Irving Spivak and Miriam too, I sure had a hand in it somehow, for bringing the materials with which we will build the sukkah.
She drafted him onto our tree.
That's right.
And she helped me cut the
Mesh.
Okay, good. That's wonderful. All right, now, the next thing I would like to know is what happened to the second round robin letter that was started. Miriam, did you get a copy of that letter? Next 2 years, and reunions for the next 2 years. For next year, God willing, it could be the same weekend as this weekend, and if you're happy with this place, why, we can certainly come back here. However, I do want to inform all of you that the year after that, in 1994, this particular weekend will be my grandson's bar mitzvah in Leakenwood, Illinois. And I feel, I can't say that we should have the family reunion that weekend. I don't think that's a good idea. But I would like to plant the seed for another weekend. And I'd like for your consideration to think about having the weekend or a week in Michigan, in South Haven, Michigan, which is not that far away. It's 650 miles. It's an overnighter, just like Harold and I did an overnighter to come here, and came here last year, and hopefully will come again next year. So I'm just planting the seed. We have a beautiful community with a white sand beach. There are plenty of places available, and we could have just as nice a family reunion there as we can anywhere else. In the summer. In the summer. I'm thinking like maybe the last week of July, the first week of August. But that's negotiable. That's negotiable. It could be any time. Holidays that year comes out Labor Day weekend, so that's a problem. So we'll talk about it next year, but I just wanted to plant the seed. Okay. I would like to distribute the family tree now so that we can go. You want to do something? So that we can go over this together. Please, if you'll take just one per family, because we still have to send around to the people who are not here, and I want to take for another 10 years. That's.
You and I will take one.
Everybody is listed. Please, if there are any errors, would you please tell me so I can at least correct it on the computer? This is an update.
Okay,
This is the October 1992 married Stella.
You should point out the people that are here.
Okay,
Yeah.
Gloria and Sheldon are here.
Raise your hands,
Raise your
everybody.
hand. Okay. Morris, who married Gussie. Elaine. No. All right, yeah. And Jerry, who lives in California. Abraham, who married Frida, had Fred, who, for whatever reason, canceled. Does anybody know why? Yes. What? Because, all right, but everything is all right? Yes. Okay, fine. And Gladys, who is here, and Leonard, whose children are nicely represented, but they are not here. Carrie married Lee Weiner. There were no children of that marriage. Then he married Sylvia, and from that marriage there was Elliot, who married somebody by the name of Michelle and Brunilda. Then he also had Gary, and there's no marriage there. Fanny and Louis had Shirley, who married Charles Frank, and then Martin Reckman. And then Fanny also had Beatrice and Seymour. B is here. Seymour is in Atlanta. And then Fanny married Morris. Of course, there were no children from that marriage. Sonia and Lieber did not have any children, as far as we know. Rebecca married Robert, Bob, and there was a daughter, Barbara, who died at a very early age. Gertrude Jeannie married Meyer, and she had Howard, whose first wife was Rochelle Stein, and whose second wife was Maria McAuliffe, I don't know. And Gertrude also had Edward, who married Susan, and then married Judith. Sylvia and Jules Blitz had Ira and Ginny Johnson. And Sandra, who married Alan Mobley, and then divorced, and then married Peter Levenberg. David married Sidell and had one son, Arthur, who married Linda. Samuel and Charlotte had Gail and Lou Grossman, who are here. Is there an error on the spelling of your name, Lou? No. Right. Oh, it is one.
Why are you sitting apart?
And they also had Marvin, who married Deborah.
What's not here?
Not here.
Not here.
Benjamin married Getta, and from that marriage we have Ann Ellen, who was briefly married to David Hamaker. And then Benjamin married Pauline. There were no children. Rose and Julius Fromm have Joanne, who married Stephen Goldberg, and Ronnie, who married
We're here.
And they are
We're all here.
All here.
all right. Benjamin and Ethel Charovsky had two children, Elise, who married Sherwin, and then Steve.